This hour of the Allman Report brought to you by STL Fenceworks, celebrating 50 years of industry-leading service for fence, deck, and leisure space solutions. Visit stlfenceworks.com.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the 3 Martini Lunch. It is a beautiful Wednesday outdoor, and I am happy to be with you. Jamie Allman here. Johnny's over there because he is filling in for Ashlyn, who is seeing her bro become an airman, and that's awesome down there in Texas. It's already starting out to be a weird Wednesday because I got two people who have climbed the top of the Empire State Building, and no one knows what exactly is going on. So between that and the fact that I'm drinking a Diet Coke with a Santa Claus on it, I was wondering why the station was giving the Diet Cokes away. Hey, take one, they're free. I'm like, oh, okay. So yesterday I was guzzling a couple Diet Cokes. Then I realized that the Diet Cokes had a Santa Claus on them. So I'm thinking that maybe, but of course, does Diet Coke expire? I don't care. I don't even know what Diet Coke tastes like. You know what I mean? I drink it, but it's just kind of it doesn't really have a taste. It's not the Coke recipe. So you're just drinking it because it's cold, bubbly, little caffeine in there, and that's about it. I prefer Coke Zero. So, but beggars cannot be choosers. So that's our day today. Don't forget Alvin Louie also going to be coming in. I'm looking, golly, I'm just so, this whole 250th birthday and anniversary is so cool. President Trump is visiting the Teddy Roosevelt Presidential Library, and golly, that's really a library I really want to go to and see. And they've got this beautiful, the train that he took when he was campaigning. The train is still there. They still have the train. It's all refurbished and everything. Golly, that's so cool. Teddy Roosevelt, and again, by the way, I'm not going to give you another show full of presidential trivia. It's just by accident I saw the presidential library thing there. But I do want to give you one little piece of presidential trivia. So Teddy Roosevelt, at the time and when he was president, right there in that 1906, that 10 area, where they came up with a motorized coach. They had the concept of a motorized coach, which would be, of course, the presidential limousine of today. They had a motorized coach. And Teddy Roosevelt was so cool that he didn't want the motorized coach. He wanted it pulled by horses because he thought that was the decent thing to do. He thought that having his presidential limo or coach pulled by horses was a lot classier than having the gauche motorized coach. Isn't that cool? That makes him cool. And also, by the way, the one thing I wanted to tell you, too, is that Teddy Roosevelt was the first, if anybody ever asked you, Teddy Roosevelt was the first president to have children in the White House. So while he was in the White House, of course, he didn't have them, but you know what I'm talking about. So anyway, that's the story on frivolity. And Bo Kretschmer, how you doing, brother? Go Sun Devils. That's right, man. Speaking of sun, it's hot out there. I love it. I love Arizona. And I love that whole vibe of it being 100. I don't care whether it's 117 degrees. I love it. This is my kind of weather, and I dig it. Bo, nice to see you. I hope you and your lovely one are doing well. Bo is a longtime listener to Common Sense Radio from way back. Allison, hello there. She says afternoon Patriots. And there's good old Phil Powers down there in Seminole land. All right, so here is the situation. This happened yesterday, and I just want you to know that the invasion of foreign-born, racist, anti-Americans continued yesterday in Colorado with the Ethiopian-born Blame America for 9/11 chick, 29 years old, won a seat in Congress. And, of course, she defeated a 30-year incumbent there in the Democrat Party, and she hates America, and that path continues. I want to discuss that because I want to discuss this pooping out of yet another racist, anti-white, anti-American. I think they're even anti-black, to tell you the truth, but I'll explain all that in the end. But yesterday, there was a really disturbing thing that happened during a hearing, and it was treated as if it was just, oh, look, Congresswoman Jayapal, she's so insensitive, whatever. But if you look into the background of Congresswoman Jayapal and you look at the genesis of this racist, America-hating Indian immigrant, you understand fully why these words came out of her mouth yesterday in addressing the sanctuary city issue. So I don't want to talk about this in isolation. Yesterday, there were a lot of people who played the soundbite and like, oh, that's horrible, that's horrible. But it's worse than that. It's an indication, it's a reflection of an attitude among people just like Congresswoman Jayapal, the Ilhan Omars of the world, the chick who was just elected yesterday. And you guys know what I'm talking about. So I'll play you the soundbite of her complaining that they're here having yet another hearing on sanctuary cities. And she's complaining right in front of the mother of the victim there in Chicago, the illegal alien who shot her as she was watching, looking at the Northern Lights. It's a terrible case. And this is what Congresswoman Jayapal had to say during the hearing and basically in front of the mother's face.
Unfortunately, this hearing is, it's the fourth time in this committee that we've had a hearing on sanctuary cities, the fourth time. And there's many other things that we could be doing other than this.
So that's appalling, first of all. And, of course, the mom reacted to that.
That was my daughter, and that is who she was until the day she was stolen from us. And I honestly can't make sense of it. I cannot make peace with it. And in what world does the child who spent her life making sure no one was lonely die terrified and alone on a pier in Chicago?
And she says, thanks for telling me without telling me that you don't care about my daughter or what happened. When Congresswoman Jayapal says this...
Unfortunately, this hearing is, it's the fourth time in this committee that we've had a hearing on sanctuary cities, the fourth time. And there's many other things that we could be doing other than...
So you're thinking, well, maybe part of that is that she's basically the devil, which is possible. But I think the important thing to remember is that she's a foreign-born, spoiled, rotten, racist brat who came here at the age of 16 in 1982. She's the daughter of a bunch of wealthy Indians, a couple of wealthy Indians. And, of course, if you know about the caste system in India, there is a ranking of your importance in India, and it's called the caste system. And the wealthy people are the ones who are the top of the caste, and all the other people are the ones who like clean hotel rooms and stuff like that. Jayapal came from a wealthy family. She came here in 2016. In 1982 at the age of 16 to go to college. She didn't become a citizen of this country until the year 2000, 18 years after she came to this country on a visa. She did not become a citizen, which means for 18 years, Congresswoman Jayapal was floating around, siphoning off of every resource in America without ever really having to be a United States citizen, and in fact didn't become a U.S. citizen until the year 2000, when she probably decided she was going to go into politics and in Congress. And of course, you have to be a U.S. citizen to be a member of Congress. So it was all kinds of a plot. Otherwise, she didn't care. She just floated around. How are you here for 18 years on a visa? How's it possible? And how is that even acceptable? Yesterday, the Supreme Court reaffirmed that citizenship in the United States means nothing. It means nothing. So we're already there. So then what happened? After she became a citizen in 2000, she became an activist. You know what her activism was about? Protecting immigrants from deportation and all that other stuff. But you know when she started her activism? Right after 9/11. Because of her concern that suddenly eyes were going to start turning onto people who came here on visas. You remember the hijackers all trained, learned to fly, did all this crap in the United States of America thanks to our openness. And what Jayapal mostly wanted to do, she didn't care about anybody that died on 9/11. She cared mostly about making sure that people like her could continue to come here and squat in the United States of America. And that's when her activism began. And then, of course, she sued the Bush administration when the Bush administration tried to deport a bunch of these criminal Somalis. So she has a long record of not only being a racist, white-hating, America-hating immigrant, but she also is carrying the torch for millions of people just like her. Maybe tens of thousands of people just like her. I don't know what you want to call it. So Jayapal, what came out of her mouth at that hearing was something that was a result of something being born and bred into this woman. It wasn't just a throwaway line, whatever. She honestly believes that she, because of her status, and this is the problem when you have a bunch of people who are here and people all pat them on the head because like they're a bunch of exotic plush toys and part of the American mosaic and diversity is our strength and all that other nonsense. It's no wonder they become spoiled, rotten, ethnocentric, racist brats in the way Jayapal is doing. And Jayapal is only saying this because the victim here is white. She wouldn't say it about anybody else. If there were a different race or whatever. She's only saying this because the victim is white, the mother is white, and she doesn't care because she is a born, bred racist. And people like her are being pooped out of the political system every day. It happened last night with this 29-year-old. So you're going to get many more of these kinds of hearing presentations that you saw with Jayapal because now you have the next generation. Jayapal's like 60-something, so who knows how long she'll be around. But now there's another spawn coming right after her, and her name is Malat Kairos. She was born in Ethiopia. So here we go with another story like this where these privileged, racist, Visa card holding immigrants come over here. They hate you. They hate America. And they will constantly take any opportunity to show you how much contempt they have for you, like Jayapal did. I don't know whether you have ever had the pain of having to be in a relationship with somebody who every time you're happy, they're sad. Right? You ever been there? Johnny's laughing. Yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about. Every time you're up, there's some way to bring you down. That is embedded in the immigrant culture here for the most part. Not necessarily the legal immigrants who come here and and do the oath and do all that kind of thing and go through the ceremonies, all that kind of stuff. But I'm talking about people like Jayapal and this other chick. They hate America because they can't be. They will never be truly American. So they hate that. So a lot of people who are, and this is a psychological thing. I'm just telling you, that's the way it is. It's a psychological thing. But people who are jealous of you, for the same reasons, Scottish people love America when they came here for the World Cup. Jayapal hates America for those very same reasons. Jayapal comes from a spawn, is bred out of a family and a culture that is jealous of America. They know they will never be America. They're actually resentful of the fact they've gotten so much from America because they are self-loathing human beings who take all that out on other people. They'll never be happy. They don't like these White House parties. They don't like the July 4th celebrations, none of that kind of stuff. And the problem is they're never going to be successful unless they traffic in the hatred of America. That's the only way they're going to be able to be successful, is by carving out their own niche of racist hatred for this country. And when I say racist, I don't mean only against white people. I guarantee you should probably hear how Jayapal and some of these other people talk about black people. Because you already know through the policies they support and everything else, black people are absolutely at the back of the bus with many of these cultures. Somalia, the Indian cultures, the Muslim cultures. Black people are like cockroaches to them. They're the lowest of the low as far as many of these people are concerned. And so, when I talk about being racist, their own, I should probably call it more ethnocentric. Their superiority complex is out of this world. Anyway, here's Melat Kairos. She was born in Ethiopia, just elected to Congress basically yesterday. And here's what she has to say.
I believe that the 9/11 terrorist attacks on America were the inevitable consequence of American foreign policy.
Inevitable in the sense that we destabilized a lot of the Middle East, that forced people to believe that another act of violence was the only response.
Yeah, America's fault. That's what she believes, absolutely. And she is one of these anti-Zionist people, wants socialism in this country, and they don't love this country. What they really want to do is they want to change it in the way they see it, in the way they want it. Unlike many immigrants, I talked about this yesterday, the immigrants at the turn of the century, in the late 1800s and everything else, 1840s, they came here and assimilated because they wanted to be Americans. Jayapal and this chick, they don't want to be Americans. They basically just want to inhabit the tree trunk of that the Americans have worked so hard to build, and they just live in it like termites, and that's exactly what it's all about. So there you go. Welcome to this form of America. Not sure how long it's going to last, however. But now you know the root of the Jayapal performance yesterday. Pretty crazy. We'll also keep you up to date on motivations for climbing the Empire State Building. 2 of them made it to the top. It's pretty crazy. Coming up, our buddy Alvin Louie is going to be with us. Courage is a habit. He's got some blockbuster news for us in just a few.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter.
I think we should be able to have a civil conversation.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
News Talk STL.
This is Kurt Barr, Director of Elections for St. Charles County, reminding you that your vote counts. If Election Day doesn't work for your schedule, you don't have to miss the August primary. No excuse absentee voting begins Tuesday, July 21st, 2 full weeks before the election. You can vote in person at either of our 2 satellite locations or the Election Authority office. Dates and times for all 3 voting locations are available on our website. For official election information, visit sccmo.org/elections.
For over 50 years, Di Gregorio's Italian Market has been serving up a taste of Italy right here in St. Louis. Family owned and operated, nestled in the heart of the hill. From homemade sausage and meatballs to spadini, pizzas, pastas, and sauces, our wide variety of Italian specialties will transport your taste buds straight to Rome. For a truly authentic Italian shopping experience, visit your friends at Di Gregorio's. Shop local, shop Di Gregorio's Italian Market, where every bite tells a story.
Spring weather has everyone sneezing, even inside their home or building. Instead of saying Gesundheit, call Wellington Environmental to perform air tests to determine if mold levels are too high. Gesundheit is the same as saying bless you after someone sneezes, the German word meaning wishing you good health. Wellington Environmental can perform air testing that is simple, fast, and can identify issues keeping you from having good health. Wellington does the same for hospitals and nursing homes for indoor concerns. Give them a call. It's simple. 314-644-4930. 644-4930. Tell Cindy, I need air sampling. They've seen it all. They can help you. Next time you hear Gesundheit, think Wellington. Wellington Environmental. Be well with Wellington.
This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
What can we do to prevent other nations invading our country using the 14th Amendment? Trump, by executive order, had declared just being born here does not make you a citizen. Well, the High Court, on a 5-4 decision, said Trump violated the 14th Amendment. Foreigners have used that amendment to get U.S. citizenship for their babies. And with the High Court ruling, more will use that option. What are our options? Well, our nation could pass another amendment. It would be our 28th and negate the 14th Amendment. First, it would have to win a 2/3 majority vote in Congress, then ratified by 3/4 of the states. Considering how divided our nation is right now, what are the chances of that happening? I would say slim to none to you've been run over by a train. The last time our nation ratified a new amendment to replace another amendment was 1933. The 21st ended the 18th Amendment, prohibiting sale of alcohol. Whoa, there was a case or more where people could actually come together and toast to an agreement.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL. What happens next?
The War Department is prepared to set the terms.
Happens right here.
To ensure that we get the kind of deal President Trump expects.
101.9 and 94.1.
St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL. The Allman Report, sponsored by Gulf Shores Restaurant. Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL.
Good afternoon, everyone, and happy Wednesday to all of you and yours. It's Common Sense Radio. Santa Claus Diet Coke is doing that really well. Put a little rum in there, be fine. No, it's a 3-martini lunch. What am I talking about? Come on, I got to keep it right. All right, Alvin Louie. One of my favorite guys I talked to on the show during the week, and I just loved, Alvin, this has happened a lot on my program where somebody pitched a guest, and we have the guest on, and then I have him on one time, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, this guy needs to be on regularly because it is so informative, and I'm so happy, and I think we're blessed to have fighters like Alvin Louie, CEO of Courage is a Habit, out there just kind of battening down the hatches as it relates to our culture and education of our children and everything else. It's super, super important, and these people are doing some great work. And, in fact, Alvin has a bunch of people who work with him who are kind of also investigative reporters, so to speak. So, Alvin Louie, welcome to the show. How are you, my friend?
I am doing good. I always say this is the best call I have all week. So I appreciate you having me on.
I love it. Well, I'm privy to a few things you're doing here in terms of exposing some of what's happening. I guess first I'm going to ask you really quickly because, of course, since that time I was able to see what you guys were up to recently. We had the Supreme Court case regarding transgendered athletics, all that kind of stuff. I'm sure that you probably think that's a great advancement here.
Oh, it absolutely is. And I think it's obviously we love the win. We love that ruling that the 27 states that have already banned boys in women's sports, these mentally ill, mediocre men, that those states is constitutional to do that. Because Title IX is about sex. It's not about because I think I'm a woman. If you're not a woman, then you don't play in women's sports. But there's also another side of this, the fact that we need it to go all the way to the Supreme Court to say it.
Yeah.
And what I want to remind everybody is whether it's Trump's executive orders, whether Congress passes a law, or whether the Supreme Court does a ruling like the one here that we're happy about, it's nothing more than a sword and a shield. What they've done is they crafted a sword and a shield and they laid it down for you. They're not fighting for you. They're not fighting for your children. They don't do anything to protect your children. They're not in your school boards. They're not in your mental health. They're not in your school counselors. They're not doing any of those things. They are giving you a sword and a shield, and if you don't pick it up, nothing changes. That's a very important distinction. So many people hear these rulings and think, okay, yay, it's solved, no more boys and girls sports. No, that's not what happens at all. And so if you're in those 27 states that already banned it, you need to triple down on this because the emotional blackmail will be worse than ever. The transgender cult will start pushing this harder, and on the other 23 states that still allow it, they will triple down because the Supreme Court ruling means nothing to them unless you parents in those 23 states press the issue.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. And it's interesting, too, you mentioned the fact that we even had to go to the Supreme Court to have this delineated. Lots of things like that happening. Like we had to go to the Supreme Court to define the word temporary. I mean, this is so crazy. Now, by the way, I thought you'd be interested in this. This is probably a great reflection of our culture as it relates to not only you talk about education, but also the media and how it discusses these matters. I'm sure you have probably seen, and maybe you all have heard this already, NBC basically issuing a trigger warning for trans people who are watching them reporting on the case. Listen to this. Yeah, listen to this. There you go. Oh, here, hang on. I'm playing my music is still playing. I'm a mess here. I need to go to rehearsal next time.
Just a quick note here. The terms that we're using here during our reporting, biological male, biological female, the High Court put those terms in quotations in their decision and their dissent. But just so you know, we're using those terms from the decision itself, biological male, biological female.
Yeah, so they're basically apologizing and saying, we're just using the language in the court case. Please don't attack us. Crazy.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah. So the question that we get asked a lot is, how do we get here? How do we get here that we have to ask the Supreme Court to decide something as silly as should a man go into sports and beat the living crap out of women? And the answer is 2 words: weak men. That's it. Weak men. We got here because men were too weak to stand up for the women in their life. The first time a mentally ill man stepped onto a field, a court, or a swimming deck, fathers, brothers, and uncles should have dragged him off.
I agree.
They should have all been in They should have all been in the superintendent's office and say, if you continue this, we're going to have a problem. The men should have been in his office, towering over him, saying, "There's a problem. You have a problem if you continue to attack our girls." If the men did that, you and I aren't talking about this.
Yeah, you know what's crazy, Alvin Louie? That is really a great observation, and one that I think a lot of us have been watching all this happening and noticing that if anybody spoke up, it would normally be moms, the mama bears, so to speak. And you know what's crazy?
That's right.
It was the same way. I'm just using St. Louis as an example. It was the same way during the COVID lockdowns. And in St. Louis County here, a group of women, it was mostly women and their sons, out there with signs protesting the COVID lockdowns that prevented their kids from playing sports. And I didn't even notice that at the time. Where are the guys? Where are the fathers? And what do you attribute that absence?
Oh, that's easy. That's the feminism, attack on women, 100%. The feminism, especially the second, third wave feminism, cutting down men. Men are stupid. Men are dumb. Men shouldn't speak. Toxic masculinity. I wrote a article a few months ago, and it was titled "If you kill the protector, you invite the plague." And these women started making up things that are just male. Everything is toxic. Everything's toxic. And what they did was the feminism removed the protective nature of a man, and now only the true degenerate men, the men are truly harmful, whether you're talking about the Muslim invasion, whether you're talking about religions that treat women like garbage, whether you're talking about the transgender cult. Now they're like, great, the real men are out of the way. Now we can attack women with no protectors. And so that being said, and when I say this, a lot of men goes, yes, that's true. This is what I heard growing up. I'm a piece of garbage. I can't do this right. I can't do this right. And now you want me to now stand up for something like this. I have no tools. You made me fear everything. Every time I open my mouth, I'm wrong. So now you want me to be protector. I have no tools. I have no muscle. That being said, that still doesn't excuse you as a man. Okay, if you have daughters, you have sisters, girlfriend, you have a wife, you have a mother, nothing excuses you from not fixing that and protecting the women in your life. You can't do anything about feminism going in the past. You can't do anything about that, but you can make sure that you as a man are right so that you are strong enough mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, so that you can stand up. And if you don't, we're seeing the results of losing that protective masculine aggression.
I realize, and as we're talking with Alvin Louie, he is the CEO of Courage is a Habit. It's a really great organization, courageasahabit.com.org, whatever you're going to get there. While you're talking about that, while you're talking about how masculinity is a scourge, according to some people, I'm wondering whether some of that is at the root of the disdain for Donald Trump, because President Trump, of anybody to me, is a true alpha male. He's a true character out of Mad Men, which I love. He is also classy in the way of his fastidiousness. So he polishes statues, he cleans reflecting pools, he builds this, paints that. You know what I'm talking about. But anyway,
sure.
I happen to think that, and it's not just women who are intimidated by him or dislike him. I guarantee you, and I've seen this even in the Republican Party, these beta males who immediately become wallflowers, and a lot of times their wives like Donald Trump, and that's what makes them mad too, is because I happen to think Donald Trump, for the same reason he drives some women crazy because with his masculinity, he is also very popular with a lot of women. A lot of the women I know, I have a heavy-duty number of women who listen to this show, and it's probably 60-40 women versus men who listen to this show and are on my Facebook, and they all love President Trump. I mean, when women love President Trump, they really love President Trump, right? But for some reason, I think that masculinity of the president is, I think, at the root of some of the insecurities of so many people who continue to attack him.
He's definitely a representative of that for sure. And that's just true not just of him, but of any male who steps outside the weak, soft, empathy, kindness first Hollywood culture. This culture that it's more important to be kind and to be nice and to be empathetic than it is to have that masculine nature. One of the things that we talk about here at Courage is a Habit is men and women all have different strengths. And if you try to mess with nature, then very, very bad things happen. So, for example, this is something that I had said on another long-form interview, a little bit of tongue-in-cheek, but true. the transgender cult relies on your empathy and understanding. So, for example, they always say, I want to be seen and heard. You've heard that, right?
Yes.
I want to be seen and heard. They always say that. Now, why do they always say that? Because they want you to listen to them so that they can emotionally blackmail you because they're narcissists. They can weaponize your kindness, all those things. But in order for that to happen, they need you to listen first. Now, one of the things that a lot of women complain about, again, sometimes funny, sometimes not, where they go, my husband or boyfriend doesn't listen. They don't listen. I try to tell them something. They're not listening. They're just trying to solve my problem. That inability to not listen carefully in men is because we are about solutions. We go right to the solution. Okay, I heard your problem. Let's get to the solution. But women like to go into the details and the context, right? So it's kind of a joke. Comedians even talk about it. When men don't know anything about each other, they just know the big bucket things. That inability to listen is very useful when it comes to fighting these narcissists. So, for example, if a transgender cult stands in front of a school board or city council or whatever and go, I'm being erased, I'm dying, it's trans this and trans that and cis this and cis that, a real man will go, you're not coming into my daughter's bathroom, I don't give a shit, I don't care, right? I don't care. And so when they say that, the person goes, you didn't even listen to me. And the man goes, yeah, I didn't listen to a word you said. I don't care what you said. All I want to do is protect my daughter. So that, even something as simple as that everybody kind of knows, it's very important for men to get into this fight because men's natural inclination to not care about anybody else except their own family is very useful. Women mama bears have been the lead in fighting this transgender ideology, but that's why there's still a lot of the emotional blackmail put on women. Because women still go, yeah, maybe we should compromise. But the real men goes, there is no compromise. When it comes to the safety of my daughter and my family, there is no compromise.
Yeah.
And so this is why I urge all men to get in this fight because, men, you are the game changer. And the reason why we have this problem now, not 30 years ago, is because real men have been put on the sidelines.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and also I know that here in St. Louis, especially if women would dare to protest on behalf of their girls or whatever, man, the other people would come out of the woodwork and basically attack them on social media and beyond as intolerant, like you just talked about with the emotional blackmail. So there are a lot of people who honestly, and then, of course, their daughters are punished at school because by the teachers who are sympathetic to the trans culture, everything else. And then ultimately lots of problems start to snowball scholastically and everything else because they're put on a blast basically, and their lives are miserable. So a lot of parents don't want to get involved for that reason.
I will say that we've heard this a lot too. Like, I don't want my child to get picked on at school if I speak up.
Yeah.
I'll remind parents that think that you're not protecting your kids. You're just protecting yourself. You don't want to be called a racist and a bigot and a transphobe. Let's be honest. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
The worst thing for a child, especially a young child, isn't it that they get picked on at school because your parents stand up for something. The worst thing for a child is to listen to their mom and dad have this conversation. Mom goes, we should say something. The father goes, we shouldn't. We're going to get called bigot. They're going to call us a transphobe. We shouldn't say that. Let's just be quiet.
Yeah.
When a child hears that the two people that's supposed to protect them, especially the father, if they hear the father say, I shouldn't say the truth because I might offend someone or someone might call me a name, what do you think that teaches the child? The child goes, I will go through life never being able to speak up because my father couldn't speak up because he was afraid of the world. But if your father comes in and says, I will not allow this, I'm not going to allow it, and he comes in like a bull in a china shop, then the child goes, I can speak the truth because even if I get picked on, wait till my dad gets here. That's confidence.
Yeah.
So you want to build real confidence in your child. It's not social emotional learning. It's not be kind. It's none of that garbage. You want to build real competence and confidence in your children as a father. You tell them, you tell your children, you speak the truth. And if they pick on you, I'll come in and I got it.
Yeah. You know, Alvin Louis, it's interesting, too, because I happen to be blessed because I send my girls to all girls schools. So we don't really have that problem. But in talking about the public schools, I'm thinking, isn't this interesting? Because, you know, whenever people talk about diversity, you know they're not really talking about diversity. It's the opposite of diversity. It's about exclusion. In many cases, when somebody is starting to talk about diversity, they're talking about excluding regular people for the most part. And I don't mean regular meaning white. What I'm talking about is it's an exclusionary sentence because you know what's coming afterwards. And so to me, the public schools aren't really behaving, whether it be school boards or whatever, aren't really behaving as public schools. They're behaving as transgender protecting vessels because the public part of it really doesn't apply, because for the people who just want to go along and get along and play without having girls who want to play without having to play boys, they're not part of the definition of public. The definition of public is narrow, not wider and bigger as you'd imagine it to be.
Well, they're very good at using the language about things like inclusion, which is their way of getting you to be quiet. And so, which is why I encourage us to have it. Our mantra is embrace exclusion. Parents and Americans completely in general have to go back to saying it's okay to be exclusive. And in fact, good things happen when you're exclusive, when you close the borders, when you keep children, when you exclude certain things from your child's life until they get older, and then you decide what to put into their minds, not with the schools. And so because they have brainwashed all Americans to value inclusion, look what's happened to our country. Look at the fraud, the illegal aliens, all those different things that are happening because we've allowed inclusion. And life is not about inclusion. Life is about being exclusive, about holding things to a higher standard. If you want to come into this country, you do it the right way because it's a privilege to come here. You want to live in this particular town, you earn your way to that particular town, not because someone, affordable housing and building apartments so that you can live there, things like that, right? So it's all those things are ways to dilute things. Things like high-flying classes in K through 12, the classes that are meant for high-flying students. Great, equity brings it down. Now we need more different people in these classes, not because you've earned your way to that class. On and on and on, right? And we've got a Supreme Court justice that's a complete idiot, Ketanji Brown.
Oh yeah,
she writes like she writes on TikTok.
Yeah,
How did she get there?
Yeah.
She got there because all her life, every step of her education career was she didn't earn anything. It was because she was the first black insert title.
Yeah.
Now she's sitting on a Supreme Court where she's such an idiot. She's not even qualified to sit in like traffic court. And so this is the power. This is the nastiness of inclusion. And so a lot of this is culture. It's not because the Supreme Court decided this or President Trump signed this and that. It's culture. It's in your mind and your heart. And if you're not willing to say, if you, the individual, is not willing to say there's no such thing as a trans child, and I'm not going to allow, instead of saying a trans woman, just say it's a mentally ill man in a women's sports or mentally ill man in a women's locker room. If you're not willing to use that language, it means that you still are afraid of labels. And as long as you're afraid of labels, they will always win.
Yeah.
And language is the first step. It's always the first step.
And Alvin Louie, I talked about your team. I know that on X there is a post from one of your team members. And I was fascinated by it, but I was a little confused by it. So if you could explain what's going on there in terms of what you guys have exposed with, I can't remember what she was called, like some kind of queen, whatever. I have no idea. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do, yeah. And so one of the things that we often do is we do a lot of undercover things. We go to webinar seminars, we go to conferences and things like that, and bring back what they're teaching your school counselors, teachers, and things of that nature. And so recently, so the American School Counselor Association is an organization we put a lot of focus on because they manage the mental health programs and initiatives and trainings in all 50 states. And so whether you're in St. Louis, whether you're in California, whether you're in Indiana, it doesn't matter. Anytime you put money towards mental health in schools, this organization is a model that's being followed. And so we want to show everybody that this organization is the biggest purveyors of the transgender cult. That's how they teach the school counselors. So if you have school counselors in your schools, they are all trained like this. Some of them may not want to push it, but it doesn't matter. That's how they're trained. That's how their certificates are being judged. That's how they pass their certification exams. Anyway, so this month we did their magazine, their official magazine, that they feature, that they send to school counselors, and we got a hold of their May-June magazine, the May-June edition. And one of the school counselors they featured is this complete lunatic that wrote a book. Okay, she wrote a book. And in that book, she makes a case that children's biological family aren't always important.
Ah.
And it's their chosen family that's important, meaning the schools, the transgender cult. And she's a school counselor in a middle. She used to be a school counselor in an elementary school, and then she just got a new job in a high school in North Carolina. Anyway, the point of that exposing is the school counselors are always in your children's ear saying the parents aren't important, the parents don't understand you, but we understand you.
Yes.
It's grooming behavior. And anyway, that's our exposure of this author. She was on a video. We had her on video saying it. She wrote the book saying it. And we just wanted to show parents like, hey, look, this is what it is. This is how they're training your school counselors. And so when you see mental health, when you see be kind, when you see welcoming schools, this is what they mean.
Well, Alvin Louie, it is an effective tactic. I will have you know that I worked for the Catholic Church, the Archdiocese, for a while as a communications director. A long, long time ago, worked for the bishop there. And during that time, I discovered that when there were issues involving priests, and the priests were having to do, I had access to some of the files on the priests who had problems with alcohol or had problems with narcissism or whatever, or women or what have you. I don't know. It was always something. And I noticed that the Catholic Church described their families as their families of origin. Meaning the church, once you become a priest, you no longer really have a family. That's your family of origin. Your true family is the Catholic Church, which isn't that bad of an idea in certain terms if it's all goodness. But what happens is that separation sometimes from the families, and the description of the families as the family of origin tends to almost untether the priests to make them as moldable as humanly possible, and sometimes even isolated, which created a lot of problems. But anyway, to the point where the counselors are doing that, that's definitely purposeful. There definitely is some history behind this kind of tactic that groups use, and so I'm familiar with that, and it does work in terms of creating isolation, which is exactly what these people want.
Oh, it is. And you're talking about, when you talk about the priests and stuff, they're already obviously grown men.
Yeah.
These are children. These are children, and they're taught very early on that they know better than parents, that the schools know better than parents, and that their parents are not the arbiter of, their protection and truth and everything else. And so when schools do that, you got to remember, this is math. This is not an indictment on anyone's parenting style or their love for their children.
Yeah.
It's simply math, because they're in the school 7 hours a day, 5 days a week, okay, for 13 years, 13 meaning K through 12. Not only are they there for 7 hours a day, 5 days a week, they are there for the most precious 7 hours, because they're prime learning, their brains are absorbing everything. Then you get them at, 3 or 4 o'clock or whatever, right? And then you have a few hours with them, but most of those few hours are, bedtime, homework, dinner, things like that. And so you're tired, right? You're exhausted from work. They're tired from the day. So the few hours you get with them in those 5 days a week are not the prime learning hours. You're just going through the motions. It's almost as if you're the babysitter, right? Giving the school a break, And so it's just math. And so when parents still don't get that K through 12 is an indoctrination center, that they still are taking a hands-off approach, is very, very dangerous, because they are looking to separate the child from you and put in values that the majority of parents would not agree with.
Right.
And they get them in those precious hours of the day. And not only is it precious hours in the day, they get them in those precious years.
Yeah. All right. Well, Alvin Louie, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Got to take a break here, but I really appreciate you every Wednesday here. And courageisahabit.org or courageisahabit.com. You can find it. Also, make sure you look it up on X as well. Constantly posting and giving you guys updates on what's happening in our cultural landscape and educational landscape. So, Alvin Louie, it's been a pleasure. Thank you as always.
Thank you, sir. It's a pleasure. I'll talk to you next week.
All right, buddy. That is Alvin. Boy, there's only so much to cover here. It's like amazing stuff. Anyway, got to take a break here. Short little hop here. It's Common Sense Radio, the 3 Martini Lunch. Happy Wednesday.
This app is absolutely fantastic.
Yes, I listen on my phone.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
It is awesome.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app and listen anytime, anywhere.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Gemini Wealth Group, the GeminiWealthGroup.com. I just talked to Jeff Portman the other day, and we're going to be getting together. He's working on a few things to help me out, and he's a good guy. I trust him, and I know you can definitely trust him too. So these are 5 people with the Gemini Wealth Group, more than 100 years of experience in investiture, in retirement portfolio planning, all that kind of stuff. And so they're the guardians of your golden age galaxy, so to speak. So they're going to work hard for you to create a strategy where you're living off your dividends and not touching the main part of your portfolio until maybe later. You're planning for your travel, your fun, whether or not you're going to disperse some of the money to your grandkids for college, what you're going to do with your housing expenses, your medical expenses, everything. It takes planning, it takes a team, and it takes a team that supports your brand of free, common sense, conservative radio. That's the Gemini Wealth Group. The GeminiWealthGroup.com. The GeminiWealthGroup.com.
Hi, it's Ken Williams, and my favorite Capriati sandwich is the Capistrami. You've got hot pastrami, melty Swiss cheese, crunchy coleslaw, and zesty Russian dressing. What else do you need? I love Capriati's, and you will too. On Manchester at McKnight and Rock Hill, and now in Creve Coeur on Olive, just 1 mile west of 270.
You feel it every time you check out. Prices up, paychecks stretched, families squeezed. That's why Ann Wagner's fighting to get government off your back and out of your way. Wagner passed the largest tax cut in American history, expanded child tax credits, ended taxes on tips, overtime, and Social Security. And Wagner is working to lower costs so families keep more of their hard-earned money. But Ann Wagner knows delivering from Missouri means more than just protecting their wallets. It means protecting our streets as well. That's why Wagner fought to secure our border, deport dangerous illegal aliens, partner with law enforcement, and put predators behind bars and off our streets so our neighborhoods and communities stay safe. Because real effective leadership protects what matters most: your money, your family, your safety. Ann Wagner for Congress.
I'm Ann Wagner, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Ann Wagner for Congress.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, coming up, you remember Tim Hawkins, right? Oh, he is world famous. He's a great comedian, originated here in St. Louis. I've got some Tim Hawkins greatness on the way, and that's not the only comedy I am going to bring you. Also, ladies and gentlemen, we've got our buddy Harry Enton over there at CNN bursting the bubble for the Democrat as it relates to its Senate chances. So Harry is always full of info, and usually it's good news. Definitely. This is Common Sense Radio. Happy Wednesday. The 3 Martini Lunch, the Allman Report on News Talk STL.
And for nearly 40 years, Nutrition Stop has been St. Peter's trusted source for natural living. They've got a great, knowledgeable staff offering more than just products. They provide guidance on your wellness journey with exceptional service. From 100% grass-fed meats like elk and bison and local produce to quality supplements and clean household products. 4101 Mexico Road in St. Peter's, just off the interstate at Cave Springs and Highway 70.
The Allman Report, sponsored by Newsteaders Fine Jewelry.
Looking to celebrate the 4th of July with a bang? Then look no further than Powder Monkey Fireworks. We've got bottle rockets, fountains, cakes, mortars. Our selection is endless with low prices and no gimmicks. Our friendly, knowledgeable staff will help you choose the perfect fireworks to make your holiday unforgettable. You'll go bananas at Powder Monkey, Highway 94 in St. Charles, on Westwood in Weldon Spring, and on Brendel in Rocky Mount. Don't want to fight the crowds? Order online at powdermonkeyfireworks.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
According to a report today in Tehran, it appeared to be aimed at underlining Tehran's claims to control the strait, which the world has long considered to be an international waterway. A massive, persistent heat dome is gripping the U.S., placing more than 120 million Americans under extreme heat alerts leading into the 4th of July holiday weekend. Must Ministry CEO Ike Reigard says they have a cooling center in Cobb County, Georgia, open during the day, especially when the temperature goes above 90 degrees.
Well, we know that over the next few days, that heat index may go anywhere from 105 to 108 degrees. It becomes life-threatening. So to me, this is a rescue station.
And scorching temperatures and suffocating humidity sweeping across the central, mid-Atlantic, and eastern states, bringing daytime heat indices between 105 and 115 degrees. Day-to-day life remains a challenge for those living in the aftermath of Venezuela's dual earthquakes last week. Stephanie Hochstetter is with the World Food Program in Venezuela, telling UN reporters that many victims are living in public spaces and having trouble finding enough food to eat.
I'm speaking to you from La Guaira, one of the hardest hit areas after the back-to-back earthquakes that struck Venezuela last Wednesday. The situation here, as it can happen in any catastrophe of this magnitude, is devastating. One man I met yesterday told me, holding his 3 sons by the hand, 2 years, 4 years, and 5 years, that he had no shelter, no food, no water. The mother had been taken to the hospital in Caracas. They lost family members and neighbors, and it is just heartbreaking to see the despair.
And more on these stories at townhall.com.
Health insurance rates are surging in America, leaving millions without affordable options. If you're sick of having paychecks eaten up by healthcare costs or dealing with mega corporations, then listen to this. Christians don't need to waste money on a broken system. That's why I want to tell you about Christian Healthcare Ministries. It's an alternative to traditional health insurance at half the cost. With CHM, fellow believers contribute monthly to help pay each other's medical bills. There's no enrollment period, so you can join anytime. And you aren't restricted to provider networks, so you choose the doctors and hospitals you want. It's that simple. CHM is not insurance. It's a ministry that puts faith into action. Feel the difference of financial support and biblical care from fellow believers. Join CHM today by visiting chministries.org/wellness. That's chministries.org/wellness.
This hour of News Talk STL, brought to you by Window World of St. Louis. For replacement windows, doors, and siding, call 800-GET-WINDOWS. That's 800-GET-WINDOWS. From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Well, the heat wave rolls on. High temperatures in the mid to upper 90s today, up to about 97 degrees. The heat index 105 or perhaps higher in some spots. Light winds today and a rain-free day with mostly sunny skies. Now tomorrow, a little bit of a change. Still hot, still humid, about the same temperature and about the same heat index. But we're going to begin to see some isolated afternoon thunderstorms popping up here and there. Very hit and miss, typical summer stuff. Not an organized system, but it will eventually start to cool us down as we get to next week. In the First Alert Weather Center, I'm KMOV meteorologist Kent Earhart.
I want to share something with you. Cooking a pizza using coal creates an amazing pizza. Only one place to get it, Napoli Brothers Pizza and Pasta in Chesterfield. Of course, they offer a wide variety of pasta, but you just visit the website napolistl.com, dine in or take out, and get ready for patio season. Napoli Brothers Pizza and Pasta in Chesterfield Valley. Try it. You can thank me later.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One.
Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on Newstalk STL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Dreaming about a vacation but not sure where to start? Should you book that all-inclusive resort or a cruise? Which destination? What cruise line? And how do you know you're getting the best value? That's where Magic Expeditions comes in. We're your St. Louis local travel experts, helping you choose the vacation that fits. Whether a relaxing adults-only escape, family-friendly resort, or unforgettable cruise adventure, skip the stress, the guessing, and endless online searching. Visit magicexpeditions.com. That's magicexpeditions.com.
This is Mark Harder with RE/MAX Results, the #1 RE/MAX franchise in the region. As a licensed real estate broker with RE/MAX Results for over 20 years, I've seen the ups and downs of many real estate markets, including the one we're in right now. With the spring market in full swing, now is the time to leap into the buying or selling of your home. Someday is not a day. Today is the day to make your move. Call me at 314-852-8933 or email me at markhardersells@gmail.com.
Hey, thank you very much for taking my call.
News, analysis, opinion.
Yes, I just want you to know what a breath of fresh air you people are.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's Common Sense Radio. It's the 3 Martini Lunch, the Allman Report, News Talk STL. Jamie Allman here with you, and Johnny on the other side there. Ashlyn is out of town, seeing her brother become an airman. Can't wait to hear that whole story. And John Steele, how you doing, Johnny? He says, Arizona State University, Walt Disney was the devil mascot. Okay, I got to figure out what that means because I don't understand, but maybe I should know. I don't know, but I'm just saying. John, explain to me, please. Prairie Flower, nice to see you. So sweet. And Allison and Amy and Phil, glad you guys are on board there on social media, and all of you out there streaming on your radios, whatever. Love it, and thank you so much. All right, so you guys, well, first of all, there's this guy, Patrick Keene. Have you guys ever heard of him before? He's a comedian. Some of these guys are on Facebook, and I was really intrigued by this, and it was posted. Patrick Keene apparently is hold on a second. Arizona State University's mascot, Sparky, the Sun Devil, has a famous connection to Walt Disney. Sparky was created in 1948 by Burke Anthony, an ASU alumnus and Disney illustrator. He allegedly modeled the mischievous cartoon devil's facial features after his former boss, Walt Disney. That's pretty cool. And Walt Disney does kind of look, he's got the kind of that angled face and all that stuff, so I could see that. All right, so his name is Patrick Keene. And this is really good. For those of you who love comedy but also kind of love some of the wonky philosophical type comedy. Here's Patrick Keene. Listen to this.
People think the world's gone to hell, that it's gotten so violent, but the world never got violent. There is no God. The world has been violent since the beginning. Cain killed Abel. Cain killed Abel. The third person on the planet killed the fourth person on the planet. We weren't even able to make it to 3 people before somebody was a murderer. At one time, a third of the people on the planet were murderers. A third of the people in the hood aren't murderers. A third of the people who own guns aren't murderers. A third of the people in jail aren't even murderers. San Quentin, Folsom Prison, and Alcatraz are safer than the book of Genesis. You thought Compton and Baghdad were tough? Try downtown Eden after the sun goes down. There's murder and violence at Person 3. One couple had 2 boys who had the world to themselves, and one of them was claiming this town ain't big enough for the 2 of us. Cain killed 25% of the world's population. That's more than Stalin, Hitler, Idi Amin, Pol Pot, King Herod, Genghis Khan, Manifest Destiny, typhoid, cancer, AIDS, cooties, all combined. Cain killed a third of the people he knew. He knew 3 people. He killed one of them. If you knew Cain, you had a 66 and 2/3% chance of survival. There's no such thing as the good old days. There was no perfect time to be alive. There was like one good day. It was half a day. Adam and Eve were naked, alone in an oasis. Lunchtime came. People got hungry. Apples were eaten. Boom, Detroit.
So that was great. The boom Detroit part was killer. All right, and there's a guy, and I've known him or of him for a long time, and his name is Tim Hawkins. I know you guys know of him because he's a great comic. He's a clean comic. He plays at a lot of churches, but also a lot of other venues as well. I had the pleasure of interviewing him like 15 years ago on my morning show, and just a great guy all around. So he's been around a long time. One of the things I really liked, I should have probably called this up. This was when he did a bit about the dress barn. He was making fun of the dress barn, and I should have flagged it, but I had this other one for you. And he was like making fun of the fact they call it the dress barn. And he was like, what do they do? You come over here, and it's like, where are your blouses? Over here! The dress barn! He was talking like farm animals and stuff. He did a lot better than I did. Anyway, I found this one because I haven't seen Tim in a long time or anything else, but this is pretty funny.
I run into this lady almost every single day. She has a creepy haircut and she has a lot to say. And I'm well aware that you probably know her too. So just to make it clear, I'm gonna spell that out for you. K is for the kindness that she never really had. Don't get ahead of me. A is for her attitude that's always really bad. And R is for the ruckuses she causes where she goes. And E is for the evil and everybody knows. Karen, she's a Karen. Brazen and Caucasian and a little out of touch. Karen, thanks for sharing. Karen, I'm declaring that you're caring way too much. Her face turns red when she's yelling at a neighbor or screaming at a waitress like she's going into labor. And if you've had a bad day, she'll make it even worse. I've seen her spank children that weren't even hers. Oh, Karen, she's a Karen. Brazen and Caucasian and a little out of touch. Oh, Karen, thanks for sharing. Karen, I'm declaring that you're caring way too much. She banned a lemonade stand, they didn't have a license. She sued a haunted house because she got a little frightened. I saw her at a wedding where she booed the wedding singer. She cussed out a bridesmaid and gave the priest the finger.
Not that one.
That finger. She doesn't really care for you, but wants you to respect her. She loves to give opinions on the things that don't affect her. For fun, she likes to run bike riders in the ditch. She drives away laughing, and they just yell out, "Be careful, Karen!" She is a Karen. Crazy and Caucasian, a little out of touch. Oh, Karen, thanks for sharing. Karen, I'm declaring that you're caring way too much. Karen, I'm declaring that you're caring way too much. Blaring and the staring and the overbearing swearing, and you're caring a little too much.
Yeah, he's good. Good old Tim Hawkins. So if you're out there somewhere, Tim Hawkins, you're still funny. You're still doing great, and really appreciate you. All right, so you guys probably have heard this story, and Allman's laughing about Hitler. It's like, yeah, I am, kind of. So what else is new? I like the headline on this story, though, for this, okay? Third Reich Rugrat. Middle school yearbook baby photo is causing a furor in New Jersey. And then there's a little picture. It says, "I did not see that coming." Anyway, this is funny, but apparently so this kid, somebody, they asked for baby pictures for this high school yearbook and in this New Jersey middle school. And one of the students submitted they've got to know by now who it is because it's going to be the one student who's isn't there. Anyway, it's a baby Hitler photo from 1889. And it was actually discovered by a teacher when people were signing each other's yearbooks, whatever else. And by the way, kudos to the teacher who looked at the picture and was like, that's Hitler. Like, who does that? That looks like Hitler. But the reality is they're like, well, how did they not see this, And it's like, well, I mean, clearly it's a black and white picture, which is, don't see too many black and white baby pictures these days. But it was, it was baby Hitler. So anyway, this television station did a whole story on this. The story goes on for an eternity.
These pages are all baby pictures of kids who just graduated Eastbrook Middle School. We're blurring them to protect their identities, but one picture, number 48, has absolutely nothing to do with the students and their school pride. That is an infant picture of Adolf Hitler. We spoke to the Jewish Federation of Northern New Jersey.
I mean, the fact that they're talking to the Jewish, so we ran to the Jewish Federation of New Jersey. like this is like that. It's a prank, right? It's like a joke. And I know that rarely do we kind of laugh about Hitler, but who cares really at this stage of the game? But they went to the Jewish Federation of Northern New Jersey for a comment.
Horrified once again by what's going on in our society, that we have lost all sensitivity and have lost all respect for genocide and things that have happened in the past.
Yeah, right. I mean, I get it, but the reality is you're talking about people who regularly call Donald Trump a Nazi, and nobody ever bats an eye at how that's insensitive to the Holocaust or whatever it is they're thinking it's insensitive to. I mean, you regularly hear people in politics and everything else, you regularly hear people who are calling Trump or anybody like you and me a Nazi or Hitler or whatever. And the Jewish Federation of New Jersey says nothing about that, except for now that's a 14. Well, of course they're ass, so I don't blame them. Now some 14-year-old kid puts a baby picture of Hitler in there.
Once Eastbrook administration learned about the picture, it acted immediately, instantly, collecting all the books that had been distributed to students. They sent home a letter condemning the act. The principal saying in part, an image of him has no place in a yearbook created for our students. It does not reflect who we are or what Eastbrook stands for.
And by the way, I mean, the image of Hitler as a baby isn't a very common image. Like, you wouldn't even, like, if you saw it, you wouldn't really know it was Hitler. So, I mean, at that point, you might as well just leave it in there and call it a day. Because, I mean, what really is it going to change in terms of what's happening and in terms of the yearbook and where the kids go or whatever? And exactly what does a baby picture of Hitler really do anyway? And again, you know, if I saw a picture of Hitler, I'm not a fan. I mean, it's kind of brutal because the guy's just weird as hell. But a baby picture is kind of like, oh, yeah, Hitler is a baby. He wasn't doing anything to anybody at that particular juncture. So you could make that argument too. But boy, this story goes on another minute.
And we condemn its inclusion without reservation. Paramus Mayor Chris DiPiazza.
Now the mayor is involved. Let's go talk to the mayor about it. My goodness.
Words as well.
It doesn't represent Paramus. That we're a diverse community.
Yeah, but who would think it would? It's an 8th grade friggin' yearbook with a baby picture of Hitler. That doesn't represent our town. It's like, who would think it would represent your town? It's in some yearbook.
Religions, houses of worship, all throughout the town. So it's one bag of action doesn't represent the town.
How the picture was included is under investigation. Paramus police were notified, and the information was shared with the Bergen County Prosecutor's Office, all wanting to get to the bottom of who did this.
The Bergen County Prosecutor's Office? Like they're trying to find out. They're thinking of prosecuting somebody for putting a baby picture of Hitler in a yearbook. What statute would that really fall under? Is that like hate speech except hate pictures? Like, what is that? It's a baby picture. And how do you prosecute somebody even if you wanted to for that? And yet these people are all fantasizing about all this investigation, the Federation and the mayor and blah, blah, blah. This story still goes on another 30 seconds.
Why they would do it, the influence behind why they would do it, how it got past the eyeball test. Although, in all fairness, it might be hard to identify the picture if you don't know that picture.
Yeah, who knows that picture? Right? I mean, who would identify it? And by the way people do pictures now anyway, especially with the filters on your phone and everything else, you can do black and whites and everything else. It's really cool. And so, I mean, I'm not quite sure somebody would really notice that anyway. So
the eyeball test, although in all fairness, it might be hard to identify the picture if you don't know that picture.
The school is working to replace all of the yearbooks so that these students who are off to high school in the fall will have their middle school years memorialized the way they should have been in the first place. In Paramus, New Jersey, Tony Yates, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Wow. 2 minutes of a story on this. And by the way, how many of those students you think did turn in their yearbooks, though, right? Like, I mean, once they found out there's a baby picture of Hitler in there, probably 25 of them are like, well, I'm keeping mine. It's unique. I mean, I'm not kidding. These are 14-year-old kids, by the way. So I don't know how they say they collected all the yearbooks, but I doubt it. It's going to be... I'd be continuing to monitor eBay for the world-famous Hitler baby yearbook scandal. All right, Harry Enton has some bad news for Democrats hoping to take over the Senate. I've been telling you a long time this myth about the midterms going the way of the Democrats. It's not going to happen. And we'll follow up on all of that. This is the 3 Martini Lunch. It's the Allman Report on News Talk STL.
I think we should be able to have a civil conversation.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
News Talk STL.
If you have a tree that you think is dead, it might not be dead. Why don't you try to save it first with Roots Plus? Roots Plus can help you save your tree and keep your cash. RootsPlusLLC.com. That's RootsPlusLLC.com or 314-440-3662.
Looking for unbelievable deals? Stop by Overstock Outlet in Lake St. Louis or Warrenton. Open 7 days a week. Discover big savings on a huge variety of merchandise with no hassle. Just great prices. Visit us in Lake St. Louis on Highway N or in Warrenton on Boones Lake. Check out our Facebook page at Overstock Outlet Lake St. Louis or go online to OverstockOutletSTL.com. Unbeatable value, friendly service, and you never know what we'll have at Overstock Outlet.
The Mosquito SWAT team is growing. We're looking for licensed 7A pest control technicians to join our Baldwin-based team. Learn more about this career opportunity at themosquitoswatteam.com. That's themosquitoswatteam.com. 1 in 4 women will have an abortion before the age of 45 in this country. That's the tragedy we must work to stop. Mike Ferguson from The Morning Show here, and that is why Reach Reproductive Health is here. To empower parents to save the lives of innocent children and to see these families come to Christ. And you can be a part of saving and changing lives. So pray and visit outreachforlife.org to learn more, volunteer, and donate. That's outreachforlife.org.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-478-6430 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-478-6430. That's 800-478-6430. What do you have to lose? Call 800-478-6430. Again, 800-478-6430.
Independence, integrity, innovation. The values that America and Stiefel have embodied since day one. On the 250th anniversary of this great nation, we are proud to say that doing things our way is exactly how we've helped so many American dreams come true in such a profoundly American way. Stiefel, where success meets success.
The Allman Report, sponsored by Santino's Cigar Bar in Imperial. Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter.
Good afternoon, everyone, and happy Wednesday to all of you and yours. It's Common Sense Radio. It's the 3 Martini Lunch. Beautiful day out there, nice and hot. Johnny and I were just talking, about the baby Hitler thing. So, it's possible, even though when I was in middle school, I studied, I knew all about the Nuremberg trials and all that kind of stuff. It was really actually fascinating. I knew all of Hitler's henchmen, Hermann Göring and Goebbels and all that kind of stuff. And even the guys, for some reason, I had some fascination with the Nuremberg trials. Which I think we should bring back and just put Fauci and everybody in the NIH in that box this time around. But anyway, I remember having that fascination, but I think in this case where somebody put the baby picture of Hitler in place for his baby picture or her baby picture, I don't know. I think there's been so much, people just throw around Hitler and Nazis all the time. I'm sure some of the kids are like, who's that? I wonder who that is, whatever, because it's become a thing. So it's crazy. By the way, man, I still don't know why these people climb the Empire State Building, but I'm also fascinated because President Trump is visiting the Teddy Roosevelt Library in North Dakota. Man, I really want to go there someday. That's one of my things I'd like to do is see the Teddy Roosevelt Library. And again, there's the Interior Secretary, and I was talking to Jim Carafano yesterday about how great it is, really, that basically we know who the Interior Secretary is because the president is so caretaking of this country, whether it be its monuments or the reflecting pools or whatever. And it's just really cool that we have this clear love of the country and what it's all about. And I really think that's awesome. And I just want to go there someday. That's all. All right. So Harry Enton, as you all know, is I think at one point I thought it was Neil Sedaka's son-in-law. And then apparently, and I was a little surprised because I was wondering if Harry Enton was married. And then suddenly it determined that it looks like Harry Enton is actually Neil Sedaka's nephew. Now, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, whatever. But anyway, he's connected to Neil Sedaka. That's all I can say. It's not that it matters, but anyway. Harry Enton is oftentimes the bearer of bad news for Democrats when it comes to his polling. And he's the bearer of bad news for the anchors at CNN, too, because they don't usually like what he has to say. And so Harry Enton has some new numbers that would be very, very discouraging for Democrats who are hoping to net 4 Senate seats. There's no way that's going to happen, by the way, even by normal standards. Obviously, midterms are traditionally not always great for the party that is in the White House. It's kind of a tradition almost that the midterms are a little bit janky, but not this time around. Here's what Harry had to say.
Democrats need a net gain of four Senate seats to regain control of the upper chamber in Congress. And right now, the math, simply put, isn't there for them. That is the picture. And I want you, it's just, it's a math problem. It is a math problem. 2026 Senate poll margins. Okay, Democrats need a net gain of 4. Okay, you get 1 in North Carolina. But then you got a bunch of red on the screen. Now, these are close races, but you got a tie in Texas.
There's no way that's a tie in Texas. There's no way that little punk, fake preacher boy is going to beat Paxton. There's not a chance. I mean, obviously, it can happen. I told you I was a little concerned about that. That's why they dumped the black chick and got Whitey McWhidington in there, because they figured he had a better chance of winning than the black chick Jasmine did. And so the Democrats, as they often do, threw the black people right under the bus and got rid of Jasmine and put in Preacher Boy. But there's no way he's going to win that Senate race. That's shocking. It's a tie. Let's just think about it as a loss already. So
then it's +2 in Iowa for the Republicans, +2 in Alaska, and then +3, if we can make the circle there, in Ohio. So that gets you 1 seat, but of course you need 4 seats. And on this board, red, close races, and a tie.
Yeah, North Carolina, like, what is the problem in North Carolina? I mean, obviously, in May, I was in Asheville, North Carolina, and Asheville, I've been going to North Carolina my whole life when I was a kid and everything else, but Asheville's very, very liberal. But they're not crazy. They're not, it doesn't seem like they're very crazy, but they're very liberal, but they're kind of North Carolina liberal, but even it's still Democrat, but it's not kooky, San Francisco liberal or anything like that. So, but North Carolina, that's a +7 in North Carolina, which is shocking and probably not that big of a number as we could see.
1, you're not get to 4.
I mean, the good news for Democrats might be they're close in Texas, Iowa, Alaska, and Ohio. But again, it needs to be 4 of these that are blue in order for them to retake it. Now, there's one state that you did not put up here.
And by the way, how does anybody in their right mind think that in this environment, at this particular juncture, that the Democrats would pick up 4 Senate seats? That is outrageously crazy. In Iowa? In Ohio? I mean, even for that matter, in Alaska. I mean, how do you even think you're going to be competitive in those areas there, and especially in this environment? What do you think? You think a $3.50 gas is going to get you 4 Senate seats? No way. People are by that time, especially by November, everything is going to be smoothed out as far as I'm concerned, and everything is looking pretty good in this country, and we're back. And the problem with a lot of this is, and that's why I think these socialists who are winning, especially these foreign-born, racist, 9/11 defending Democrats, are not doing the Democrat Party any favors whatsoever. I mean, you've got a bunch of really born-bred, racist, America-hating people who are clipping off congressional seats as we go. And Americans have a real tendency to, even if they are maybe liberal or whatever, they don't want the country heading in a certain direction. I mean, I even think there are Democrats who are very, very concerned about these dogs who are winning these races here, because they're not a great reflection on the Democrat Party at all.
No.
That's Maine.
That is Maine. Maine, which we've had a few Senate polls.
There's no way that Susan Collins is going to lose to this Nazi Roy boy, Graham Plattner. There's not a chance in Maine that she's going to lose to this boorish weirdo with tiny hands. There's no way. I mean, Susan Collins isn't everybody's favorite Republican, right? On our end, right? But there's no way she's going to lose to Graham Plattner. No way.
The last couple of days. And what do you see here? Even in Maine, a state that Kamala Harris easily won back in 2024. Look, the New York Times has Plattner ahead by 2, but that, of course, is well within the margin of error. That is among likely voters. Fox News, on the other hand, has Susan Collins, the incumbent, up by 3 among all voters.
Okay, so the New York Times has a poll out that Graham Plattner's going to beat Susan Collins by +2. That's never going to happen in a million years. I mean, Maine people might have voted for Kamala Harris, but Kamala Harris is no Graham Plattner. That guy is vile. I mean, you look at him and you just puke a little bit in your mouth. You just looking at him. But Susan Collins is the reason why Susan Collins is a liberal Republican is because Maine people are liberal, but they can also be Republican, meaning they can vote for somebody who's almost like a Democrat, but she's not quite a Democrat. She's a Republican. She's a Democrat for their purposes and with the issues they like, but a Republican on the rest. She's tolerable to all these Maine weirdos up there. So that there's no way that Graham Plattner is going to beat Susan Collins. There's not a chance.
So even in Maine, you have a race that simply put is way too close to call. So really on the mathematical march to 4 seats, there's really only 1 seat at this point that Democrats can look like they can count on. They'll probably win one of these other seats. But again, that gets you only to 2, and you need 4.
Yeah, you might think the Democrats would hope they look better given the war in Iran, given inflationary concerns. The question is this their high water mark, or can they grow from here? They will need to grow. What are some of the reasons why they might be?
How are you going to grow when you have a bunch of these foreign-born, terrorist-loving racists winning seats in your Democrat Party? How are you going to grow your coalition when you seem to be going backwards and handing it to people who hate America? I don't know how that's going to do with that. I don't know. All right, Greg is giving it. Yeah, DLW Collins is a rhino, but she's not gonna lose to Graham Plattner. That's for sure. Greg Carell is giving us an update on the 2 Empire State Building climbers. He says, this just in. Thank you, correspondent Greg Carell. This just in, 2 in custody after scaling the Empire State Building. 2 people in black with Batman masks on. And they hung a banner at the top of the antenna. I saw that. Do we know what the banner said? Okay. So I saw it was like a black banner. Let's hope it's something fun, okay? And not like Antifa or something like that, please. I mean, I'm kind of, this is a fun one, so let's just hope it's not. Anyway, back to Harry and this other boob.
Having a little bit of a harder time.
The real reason why they're having a little bit of a harder time is these are red states, right? With the exception of Maine, right? These were all states that Donald Trump won back in 2024. And look at this. The median in the 6 key Senate races, look at this. The generic Senate ballot lead for Republicans, look at that. In the median state is 6 points. And of course, the median right down the middle is what, 3.5, right? So you need to win states in which the generic Senate ballot lead is Republican +6, and then say the Dem Party is too far to left. Look at this, 53%. So these are states that are just very hard to win because bottom line is what is holding them back is the fundamentals. And when you put it all together, Johnny B., and you look at the prediction markets, which I think really can sort of put this all together, chance to win the Senate. The Republican chances, as you noted, John, the environment is getting a little bit better for Republicans. On May 1, Republicans had a 51% chance to take back the Senate. Now it's a 59% chance.
Yeah, and that's directly related to the way in which the party is moving left in its elections and in its statements and what it's doing. It even got to the point where it's now embracing algae, as we talked about with Jim Carafano. So these guys, there's no bad thing that the Democrat Party won't attach itself to. No negative thing that it won't attach itself to. And that really is tiring for a lot of Americans who, it's one thing to have concerns about this, concerns about that, but it's like, you guys are really going to argue against cleaning up the reflecting pool? Like, really? Like, if I'm a Democrat, I'm going, guys, shut up already. My goodness gracious. Hakeem Jeffries, shut up, dude. But they can't help themselves. I mean, they're defending candidates who blame America for 9/11. They're defending illegal aliens. They're going out in hearings like Jayapal did when I brought you at the front because, of course, she's a racist, foreign-born cancer in the United States of America. But, to say that, in front of a woman, a white woman, of course, it's only because she's white that Jayapal did that. But she loses her daughter to an illegal alien murderer, and Jayapal says, this is wasting my time. I mean, at what point do regular Americans look at something like that and say, I don't know, I'm not really going for what you guys are selling here. By the way, speaking of the Democrat Socialists of America, so this is an interesting, speaking of polling numbers and everything else, you know that the Democrat Socialists of America all act like they are the party for the working class. But according to a survey, there are almost no working class people in the party at all. So, listen to this. Candidates aligned with the Democrat Socialists of America are surging to victory on the claim they are proponents of a government by, for, and of the working class. They want to wrest power from both far-right Republicans and corporate Democrats. But there is a poll that people are starting to look at, and it goes all the way back to 2021. Oh, listen to this, Greg. I don't mean to interrupt myself here, but Greg says what the banner says is the people from the Empire State Building put up there says, when the power of love beats the love of power, the world knows peace. I mean, that's good. It's probably directed at Trump, probably, but, it doesn't seem like unless there's something, signed, DSA or signed Antifa or whatever. I mean, it's a nice thing. Maybe they're referring to Iran, whatever. But to me, that's just that simple phrase is good enough for me. But it's probably directed. I don't know. I'm just going to pretend it's just a couple of nice people going up on the Empire State Building, telling the world love and peace are good for us. I'm good with that. Anyway, in 2021, the DSA surveyed its members and found that 85% were non-Hispanic white, which, by the way, is far more than the national population, which was 57.8% white in 2020. So the national American population, 57.8% white in 2020. So the DSA is 85% white, which is whiter than the country. It's pretty crazy, right? By the way, I was one time, this is a little game I played with Aiden when he was, I guess, about 12 or 13 or something. We were driving around. I said, what percentage of America do you think is black? And he was like, 50? I said, no, it's 11. And the reason why he thinks that, and he thought that, is because you turn on the TV and you look at commercials or representations on newscasts or whatever, and you would think that the population of the United States is 50% black because that's basically all you see in commercials and stuff like that. I mean, occasionally you'll see the interracial family, but it's never like a white guy and a black woman. It's always a white lady and a black guy, almost always. Except I did see one commercial where it was a white guy and a black woman, and the white guy was stupid. She was berating him or doing something, but I don't know. But you wouldn't look. I'm not complaining about it. I'm not going to sit there and complain about too many blacks on TV. That's what I'm saying. But it is interesting that Aiden thought that when I asked him that. I also, by the way, didn't start leading him down some kind of racist conversation or anything. I just wanted to know, like what he thought in his world, like how many black people there are in this country. And he thought it was 50% black based on what he's seeing. Anyway, 4% of the DSA members held blue-collar jobs. 4%. This is according to the survey. And this is 2021, so it might have changed since then. But anyway, more than 80% of the members of the Democrat Socialists of America who were 25 or older had college degrees. That's more than double the percentage for the United States as a whole. 35% had a master's degree, a doctorate, or a professional degree. Again, more than double the American average. 60% identified as agnostic or atheist. So with the American average taking its most generous, less than half of that. But 60% identified agnostic. So basically what the DSA is made up of is a bunch of spoiled, rotten, rich kids who are attending college. 80% of them had college degrees, and 35% had master's degrees, and they also don't believe in God. So what a group, huh? I mean, what a group of a bunch of privileged, white, ungrateful skunks in the Democrat Socialist of America. They have one guy he's a black guy who actually is here in St. Louis, and he mouths off about executing people after the revolution of them, but he's just step and fetch it for a bunch of white, upper-class, overeducated snobs. That's what the Democrat Socialist of America Party is. Don't let anybody tell you that the DSA is the party of the people. Because it's the party, as I'm seeing in this article, of the white atheist college grads, and none of them hold blue-collar jobs. 4% of them hold blue-collar jobs. In the DSA's March 31st declaration, we will not be erased. You'd be meet with hostility because working-class voters are not really going towards the DSA's platform or anything else. And so all they're doing really is promoting open borders, all this kind of stuff. And they're basically, like I say, a bunch of step and fetchits for a bunch of rich Wall Street Soros type of people. By the way, real quickly before I break here, today is Social Media Day. Did you guys know that? Oh, yesterday was Social Media Day. Sorry, I missed it. I missed Prime Day, too. Apparently there were people talking about Prime Day. I missed Prime Day. As much as I use Amazon, I don't even know what that is. Anyway, so the White House put this one out. Their favorite question was, what's the forever unmatched social media post that you've ever seen? The White House put up this X post, which was at that point a tweet from Hillary Clinton. And you guys remember this? It was the picture of her as a little girl. And it says, happy birthday to the future president. So that's what made, according to the White House, forever unmatched social media post. It is really interesting because the White House, these guys never miss a beat, and they are just expert trolls. It's fantastic. Well, you're listening to Common Sense Radio. It's the 3 Martini Lunch. It's the Allman Report on News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter.
All the information I need on the drive to work.
Mike Ferguson in the morning. We keep it on throughout the day, whether it's local, national, or something big that's happening overseas.
News, analysis, and opinion.
St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
The Walner home selling team of Berkshire Hathaway. Let me tell you something about how much fun I have as an agent with the Walner home selling team. 314-810-SOLD. 810-SOLD. Rodney and Jen, good friends of mine. I love working with them. The team is great. We all work together really well to help each other make sure we stay as the top home selling team in the Berkshire Hathaway network. And here is the deal. I mostly do buyer's agencies, so I get people into their dream homes. I love the whole process and getting the best price for the home for them and all that other mother jazz. It's really great. Stick with you through the inspections, everything else, make things happen for you. And so it's very rewarding, and we deliver. We follow through on everything to make it the best experience for you in the world. Now, as sellers, if you are selling your home, we basically dress that home up. We get the drone shots. We create competition for the home, so that means we get the best price because everybody wants that home, right? So you're going to get the best price by allowing people to fight over it with their offers and everything else, and we make that happen and make it happen for you. The Wallner home selling team of Berkshire Hathaway, 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD.
JC's Wayback Machine.
For so many of us, the 4th of July means the beach, and so this week, JC's Wayback Machine will originate from Clearwater Beach, right down the road here in West Central Florida. And every song we play is going to be about the USA. Kansas, Springsteen, Chuck Berry, Bowie, and more, and a couple of iconic protest songs from the 60s as well. So get out your sunscreen. We're live at the beach. Brought to you by the Weber Automotive Group.
It's JC's Wayback Machine. Every Saturday night, 6 to 9. News Talk STL.
1949, the last time a Republican held the top post in St. Louis City. A gallon of milk was 84 cents, and streetcars ran down Grand Avenue. Unfortunately, St. Louis City streets are no longer the epicenter of family and business life. In the 80 years of Democrat control, our city has been on a steady decline.
Hello, Kirk Ilsinger, chairman of the Republican Party for the city of St. Louis, and we believe it is our duty to provide a different path forward. I invite you to our meetings the first Thursday of every month. Learn more at stl-gop.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
Hey, Colombo here for Intervine, a great local company that has customers all across the country due to the quality of their products. Intervine has the best flashlights, lanterns, headlamps, and even batteries, including the new Monster 2000 Lumen waterproof lantern and the Sentinel 2000 self-defense flashlight. Our home and vehicles are full of great Intervine products, and right now you can shop their website and get 25% off your entire purchase just by using my name, Tony, as your promo code. That's promo code Tony at Intervine.com.
On the next,
Larry Connors, USA.
The story behind the story, the Catholic Church named Mother Teresa a saint. Others claim she was a monster.
Larry Connors, USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL. The Allman Report, sponsored by the Wallner Home Selling Team. Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL. I gotta tell you, I'm going to declare Larry Connors the king of the teas. Learned that from TV, I bet. Coming up, and then because I'm trying to figure, I gotta know. I could probably ask him, but I'm going to listen to find out in what world Mother Teresa was a monster. Others call her a monster. I'm like, what? So I gotta listen to Larry's show at 6:00 here, right after the great Christopher Arps and Tim Jones show. But yeah, that's a good one. I'm gonna you get the Tease Award, Mr. Connors, Commander Connors, on that one. Do you guys know who called her a monster? Because don't ruin the surprise for me. I want to find out who thinks Mother Teresa's a monster, because I'm going to avoid them. All right, so we're getting more information on the couple. It's a couple, apparently. It's a man and a woman. And Greg was right about what the banner read. When the power of love beats the love of power, the world knows peace. That was how it went down. I got to tell you, I am here. I'll play you the Fox News report on this one. Eh? Actually, it's not a Fox News report. It's this video of a, golly, I'd be terrified climbing that damn thing. They're like on it. It's like that. The top of the Empire State Building is like this thin little pole, and they climbed up it. So it's a man and a woman, and then there's this helicopter kind of zooming around them. I'd be terrified. I like these people already. I think this is a nice. I think you know what's interesting, how crazy sometimes things get, you know, in terms of all the things going on. I think this fits in well with all of the craziness we're seeing everywhere, because I think it's fantastic, to tell you the truth. I'm really intrigued by it. It looks like people are actually, you know, having fun. But I don't know. I'm not going to be too far ahead of myself. 2 masked people climbing on top of the Empire State Building afternoon, holding a banner, reading, "When the power of love beats the love of power, the world knows peace." 40 police officers in front of the building. Pedestrians seen gathering at every corner. And there is some claim that it could have been some kind of marriage proposal or something like that. And if that's the case, that's a pretty cool thing. And they were saying Greg was saying they were wearing Batman or Catwoman mask or whatever. I have no idea. But if that's the case, I applaud them. Oh, man, that's disruptive. It's like, I don't know. At least, you know, it's better than like a monk lighting himself on fire like they did in the 60s. You know what I'm saying? So I don't mind this. All right. Quick, before we have to go, J.D. Vance said in an interview on the Michael Knowles show, he said that Ocasio-Cortez is the likely front runner for the Democrat presidential nomination in 2028. And Vance said, I think it's going to be AOC. And then so somebody caught up with AOC, and this is how it went.
J.D. Vance just said in an interview that he thinks you are going to be the leading Democratic candidate for president in 2028. What's your response to that?
I mean, you know, I hope he is. That's what I'll say.
But he's a Republican nominee?
Yeah, I hope he is. That's what I'll say. So Ocasio-Cortez kind of speaking rather confidently. I really think that's a strong possibility, and it'll be very interesting, and J.D. Vance will kick her butt. There's no way. And you know what? I think, and you guys are going to kill me for saying this, but, you know, my instincts are normally pretty good, and AOC is kind of likable in a sense that she's not detestable like a Hakeem Jeffries or a Nancy Pelosi, whatever. She's able to kind of play that I'm crazy, weird socialist and probably not all that intelligent and bright, but she has a level of attractiveness about her that works. And by the way, all you people out there, oh, she's a former bartender. I'm like, what the hell's wrong with being a bartender, by the way? I've been one. That's the last reason people ought to bring up as to why she shouldn't be where she is. So we'll see. Watch out for her, though. That's all I'm saying. I'm not endorsing her. Watch out for her. I would be, and J.D. Vance, you know, is. You guys have a great rest of your day. Johnny, thanks so much. Coming up, Tony Colombo and Colombo and Company. Thank you for listening.
Why has Steph's Pizza become the place to go for St. Louis-style pizza, appetizers, salads, and pastas? One taste and you'll know. Dine in, pick up, delivery, even DoorDash. Locally owned and operated with legendary pizza and a new location in Lake St. Louis at 111 Palm Fort Trail. In St. Peters, St. Charles, and the original Stephanitas in O'Fallon on Veterans Memorial Parkway. Steph's Pizza is proud to be part of the News Talk STL family. Check them out at stephspizza.com. And remember, tonight's a good night for Steph's Pizza.
You work hard, follow the rules, and get absolutely slammed by taxes. Your paycheck taxed, your property taxed, everything you buy taxed. Missouri's tax system isn't broken, it's rigged. against you. The lawyers and lobbyists working for big corporations and the super rich buried over 200 loopholes for themselves in our tax code. While they pay nothing on the services they use, working families are taxed over and over. It's no wonder they're lying about Amendment 5. Our corrupt tax system is rigged in their favor. They're getting a free ride on your back. Don't believe their lies. The truth is, Amendment 5 closes loopholes exploited by the super rich and slashes taxes paid by Missouri's working families, phasing out income taxes and cutting property taxes. They finally pay what they owe while you keep what you earn. Vote yes on Amendment 5. Paid for by Missouri Promise PAC.
Remember when food tasted like home? When breakfast was made from scratch and dessert was worth saving room for? At Shorty's Diner, we're serving up down-home breakfasts, lunches, and desserts just like Mom used to make. Fresh, from scratch, every single day. Step back in time with us, where the booths are cozy, Elvis is always in the building, and every plate feels like a hug. On Lackland and Westport, or online at shortysdiners.com. Shorty's Diner. It's not fancy. It's not fat-free. It's just the way it used to be.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at
newstalkstl.com.
News this hour at Town Hall. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. Federal Reserve Chairman Kevin Warsh has signaled that while inflation risks have eased a bit in recent weeks, the Fed remains committed to bringing prices back to the 2% long-term target.
We're going to deliver price stability in the U.S. That's what this committee has signed up to do. And our objective is to do that. The tactics, the strategy, and the rest, that's still to come.
During a central bankers conference, Warsh said that the Fed will also stay free of political influence.
We've been an independent central bank for a very long time. We're going to be an independent central bank at this moment, and you're going to see no changes on that.
Warsh may find himself coming under some pressure from the White House to try and keep inflation lower and also lower interest rates. The World Food Program has delivered aid to quake-affected areas in Venezuela, and a Jordanian team rescued a toddler in Caracas.
The UN Food Agency says they're distributing aid to thousands of Venezuelans affected by the June 24 earthquake, including in La Guaira, one of the most affected areas, where workers distributed food aid to residents on Wednesday. The WPF said also that they've completed a first distribution for 1,200 people. The agency adds they aim to reach 500,000 in the next 3 months.
That is correspondent Charles de la Desma reporting. The price you pay for your morning cup of coffee might just be on the way down.
Nestle may reduce coffee prices for consumers as bean costs decline, a senior company executive said Tuesday. The company will consider lower bean prices when setting retail prices, a potential boost to consumers seeking some relief from high coffee prices in recent years. Coffee prices rose sharply in 2024 and reached record highs in 2025 after adverse weather affected supplies.
That is Bill Alexander reporting on Wall Street. It's a mixed bag right now. The Dow is up by 62 points. The NASDAQ struggling. It's down 112. More from townhall.com.
Maybe this is you too. There's enormous frustration right now with healthcare costs. It is amazing. Healthcare costs for families in the last 20 years have almost tripled, and it just keeps getting worse. All this to say, this is why MediShare is so in demand right now. People are looking for alternatives. And MediShare is proven you can save thousands of dollars a year and actually like it more. Over 1 million Americans are now part of healthcare sharing, and MediShare is the gold standard. It's trusted. It works. It's been helping people save money and have peace of mind now for 30 plus years. It's not some big impersonal thing either. It's a community of people like you helping each other. So yeah, if you're frustrated too, here's your chance to make a refreshing change. You'll notice the difference as soon as you call. They're easy to talk to. You can get a price within 2 minutes. Here is the number. Call 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE. 833-34-BIBLE.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hey, Jamie Allman here for Window World. Did you know that Window World offers a lifetime warranty that covers all parts, glass breakage, and labor? They are one of the only 2 replacement windows with the Good Housekeeping seal of approval. Window World St. Louis has been owned and operated by a group of born and raised St. Louis residents for more than 23 years, and now Window World is offering 36 months same as cash financing with approved credit. Call them today, 800-GET-WINDOWS for a free in-home, no-pressure estimate. That's Window World at 800-GET-WINDOWS.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common-sense science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on Newstalk STL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Tired of settling for generic fishing gear? Say hello to Bullseye Bait and Tackle, O'Fallon's one-stop shop for serious anglers. Live bait, premium tackle, rods, reels, and an unbeatable selection of lures from top brands like Megabass, Zoom, and Berkley. Whether you're after bass, catfish, crappie, or bluegill, they've got the gear to help you land the big one. Plus, their expert team, led by Mark and Liz, provides rod and reel repair services. Bullseye Bait and Tackle, 266 Fort Zumwalt Square, or at bullseyebaitantackle.net.
Stop before you dig. Click or call 811. Every dig, every time.
Water, power, internet, and sewer are all essential services we rely on, and all are buried underground and out of sight. Hitting one could mean big trouble. Contact Missouri 811 before you dig to avoid costly repairs and outages. It's free, it's easy, and it's the law.
Stop before you dig. Click or call 811. Every dig, every time.
It's the law. Sponsored by Missouri 811.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Well, the heat wave rolls on. High temperatures in the mid to upper 90s today, up to about 97 degrees. The heat index 105 or perhaps higher in some spots. Light winds today and a rain-free day with mostly sunny skies. Now tomorrow, a little bit of a change. Still hot, still humid, about the same temperature and about the same heat index. But we're going to begin to see some isolated afternoon thunderstorms popping up here and there. Very hit and miss, typical summer stuff. Not an organized system, but it will eventually start to cool us down as we get to next week. In the First Alert Weather Center, I'm KMOV meteorologist Kent Earhart.
This hour of Colombo and Company brought to you by Gutter Pros. Water goes where we tell it. Call 314-656-7195 or visit them at gutterpros.com.
Hello and welcome to Wednesday afternoon here on Colombo and Company. Another extremely busy day, lots to talk about. As we get closer and closer to the 4th of July, it is the 1st of July, going into a brand new month here. Already into July of 2026. That is crazy how fast this year is flying by. How close we are getting to the midterm elections. Of course, the November midterm elections going to be a big deal across the country and here locally. The August primary elections here in Missouri going to be maybe even a bigger deal, at least in some areas, when it comes to impact on local laws, rights, businesses, people. And we're going to talk about those issues